Guys, welcome to part 3 of me explaining the history of a random concept or item. Today, we're going to learn about the concept of storing or preserving foods, alright? This is a concept and the item at the same time. So, we all know food preservation. Pretty simple meaning, but not as simple history and easy work. So food preservation basically means that you take a certain type of food. Let's say, for example, this fish. And then you pickle it into a jar, usually with a vinegar or any salty object. All right. So basically, pickling is preserving items with like a salt base. Okay, salt preserves a lot of things. And humans also have a way of preserving, but we don't eat. It's called embalming. Embalming bodies so that way it looks not as rotten when it's time for the funeral. So preservation begins back in Roman Empire. All right. So actually no, it began in ancient China. So fishermen, they were Chinese fishermen. They look something like this. They usually have a large nest, like a little basket to catch the fish. And their boats were usually rather small with like a little area to go under when there's like too much heat and too much sun. So usually they just catch fish in their nearby rivers. And usually, instead of like a one big fish, it was a lot of small fish, alright? And these were hard to preserve all at once. So they came up with a solution. They had these giant, like D-shaped jars. They didn't look exactly like this. They put all the fish in there with a bunch of salt on top, and then they seal it inside tightly. So over time, the enzymes broke the fish, and then actually invented fish sauce, or at the time called garum, invented by the Romans. The practice was passed on to the Romans, and the one where we actually started preserving whole foods, alright? Whole foods, not just tiny fish. It starts with the Vikings, alright? They had something they're called pickled herring and grog slugs, alright? So pickled herring is what it is. It's the herring fish. They just put it with like dill and some sort of like salt and some like sweet vinegar or any type of preservative of some sort. And then they usually preserve for a week or two, but they can last up to 5 years if treated properly. So they were practically a staple. And grosslocks too, alright? They usually eat it with like a small cake, Viking flatbread, some toppings. And groslock is just tuna, alright? And just like pickled herring, it can last up to 5 years if it's treated properly. And then move on to early Europe, alright? They start preserving things like meat, medicine, sometimes human flesh, I don't know why. And also they created something called preserved water, which is, their version of holy water. So of course this water was not all holy, but it's what they believed at the time, and I swear to you, you wouldn't be able to, tell them not to think so, because they were extremists for their religion, alright? So likely, you won't be able to convince them even if you had a chance. Now, in the present day, the most common pickled food is pickles. And pickles are just pickled cucumbers, alright? So that's the most common food. Common pickled food. And however, cheese is also pickled as well. I know, it sounds crazy, pickling cheese, but it's rather simple, and plus, people like it. Pickled cheese actually tastes good. And even though you think it tastes bad, I've tasted it before, and it tastes amazing. You guys should try some, and heighten your expectations, please. So yeah, that was a quick 4-minute summary of the history of preserving foodstuffs. I hope this video was good for your entertainment, and tomorrow I will be making a video about cheese. So stay tuned.